This podcast is brought to you by Kiwi Design, the leader in MetaQuest and VR accessories. And now you can deck out your device while supporting the podcast. The MetaQuest 2 is a great headset, but do you ever feel things could be a bit more comfortable? Well, we have the solution for you. With lens protectors, controller grips, face covers, head straps, link cables, headset stands, and more, including my two personal favorites, the top version controller grips with added weight and an extended handle, and the Kiwi upgraded Elite strap. Let's be real, we've all whacked our controller. Don't be the guy messaging Oculus support for your own mistake or waiting weeks for an out-of-stock controller. Visit the link in our show notes to prepare yourself today. After visiting the link in our show notes, make sure to use the promo code RuffTalkVR at checkout, all one word, to take full advantage of your savings. And make sure to click the link in our show notes so the podcast gets credit and you help support us. Remember, whatever you need, Kiwi has you covered. Hey, welcome to this episode of Ruff Talk VR. Coming at you with another edition of Monday Morning News. To be 100% honest with you, we're not loaded with the news this week, but we have plenty to talk about between the limited amount of news we have. Then also, Mighty Coconut just dropped their newest course on Walkabout mini golf, their newest DLC, Upside Down.
I struggle to say it.
Yeah, I always want to say upside down, so I'll emphasize.
I say upside downtown.
Yeah, that's actually a fun one too. Yep. That's a fun name, but no, it's called Upside Down. And then also Guardians Frontline, just re-released on the official MetaQuest store, published by Fast Travel Games now. That's a game. Of course. Yeah, Fast Travel, get your game on the store fast.
They'll get it to the store quickly.
So we loved it on App Lab. You know, we already did a pretty in-depth review of it. There's not a whole bunch that's like changed besides polished, in the sense that I think that we can get away with just talking about today versus like a whole dedicated review. We'll just kind of touch up on our thoughts on the relaunch.
Because nothing's really changed with
besides like graphics,
the gameplay. But we'll get into that later.
Yeah, and then like I said, there was a couple other news things to talk about, but big too, to end the show, we have a new sponsor that I'd like to announce at the end of the show too, and then you'll hear the first ad read of that on Wednesday. But this sponsor, I'm actually really excited for. But to kind of kick it out, this one's a small piece of news because we already know the Quest 3 is coming. It's not news, but to kind of further get us hyped, some people on their mobile app where you connect to the Quest, you can shop on the store on there too. They were saying when you go add to a new device, didn't unfortunately appear on my phone, but they saw Quest 2, and then next to the Quest 2, they saw an option for an unknown device called Eureka, which, codenamed for
I'll check
the Quest
while you're
3.
talking about it. Because it didn't show up on mine before, but you never know.
Yeah, and so what's interesting is it was saying Eureka, which I love that code name, Eureka.
We found it.
Yeah, they
that's what it is for the Eureka. You found it. They're the ones who put it there.
Later in the day, for some users, it switched to New Quest, and then it disappeared. But, like I said, never appeared on my phone. But it's just a further cementing that hype that the Quest 3 is coming.
Yeah, no, I only have Connect New Device.
Yeah, what happens if you hit Connect New Device? What are the options that appear?
Quest Pro, yeah. Quest 2, Quest, Rift S, and Go.
No Eureka or New Quest.
No.
They still let you connect the Go. That's awesome.
Damn it. I was hoping it would be in there.
And again, it's not news because we know the Quest 3 is already coming, like I already said, but it's just cool to see it,
It's further. A teaser.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. It's a forced teaser. They dumped it on some people and were like, they'll talk about it.
It was, yeah, I don't know if that was accidental or.
Well, let's be honest. If it was on your phone, if you discovered that 2 days ago.
Oh, I would have been posting about it.
You'd be talking about it like firsthand. So.
And again, so I saw some people speculating like, oh, that might mean that some dev kits are out in the wild, which would be cool. But again, I imagine people have had dev kits for some time if the headset's coming this year.
I would think so.
I say it all the time at Meta, you send me an email, maybe we can, get some thoughts on it too,
We'll work something out. Just send us a message in a couple of headsets of the Pro form.
So I'm probably the most excited guy for the Quest 3. Every time there's these little bit of...
Like I said, I wish I could prepay for it now.
That's a day one buy for me.
Yeah, I want it. I want it the day it ships. It's like, I want to go have it in my hand the day that you can.
Yeah, and if, what we discussed last week on the show, if last week's leaks are to be true, where there's going to be 41 new apps and games, emphasis on that, it's apps and games, not just games. But even if that's, 3 or 4 new games dropping with the Quest 3 and they're high quality, I'm so excited.
Yeah, and you'll still be able to play your old ones. So
Yeah.
even if it came with as just a headset, I would have been totally content with that.
So I can't wait for that. That was a fun one to start the news. And then kind of on that too of like rumored also in their device, some people were seeing you can actually visit the webpage directly. If you're signed in to the app on your phone and then you visit a web page, you'll be able to access kind of like a hidden page in the app. And it's referencing a Quest Pass, which is something that we've talked about previously before of like, you look at like Sony, Microsoft, they all have like these subscription models for games.
Yeah.
Vive actually has one with Viveport for VR too, where, you pay X amount of dollars a month. And then for that month, they give you X amount of games to play. We were always like, oh, it's a no-brainer for the Quest, but the limitation was, the library wasn't big enough. But I think that there's a strong argument that the library is big enough now, and it looks like that's something that they're working on, a Quest Pass.
Yeah, I was posting last night in a group because there was some pretty, I don't know, they didn't seem pleased about it. Their push was more like, oh,
you don't have to buy it.
I wish they would do more of like a cloud service than a subscription service. So I made the argument that I'm like, Microsoft and Sony have been doing this for years. Microsoft's been getting my freaking money since they came out with the gold pass, and then they had like the extra gold pass, and then EA did their own thing before they combined everything. So I'm a fan. My only concern is I heard it's going to be like 2 or 3 games a month type of thing. So it's not going to be like currently like Xbox Gold gives you the 2 or 3 games, but then there's a library of other games you can play.
Yeah, they don't want to give you the whole store for free. I don't think we're at that size yet either. But it depends on the cost. They're
2 or 3 is a little, it's a little weak.
It depends on what games it are too. So it's like, example.
Yeah, you don't have control over that.
If it's $10 a month, but they're offering you 2 $5 games, it's not worth it. But if it's $10 a month, but then you get on 1 month, maybe it'll be Walking Dead, Saints and Sinner 1 and 2. It's like, oh damn, that's worth it.
It should be. It's just my concern is like you're really playing the lottery that month is going to have, let's say they're 2 crappy games you just have no interest in. It's like you can't control that. But if they take like what they've done with Microsoft and Sony, typically you'll get discounts on games. They'll have exclusive games just for Gold Pass members, And then the new thing that's been happening for over the past year is like release day games being sold for $50-$60. You're getting for not free because you paid for the subscription, but they're also on subscription service, like day one releases where you're not, similar to what streaming services have also done with movies that are in the theater, but they'll let you watch it that week on the streaming service.
But these companies are also pulling money just for users using their games in multiplayer, meaning on my PlayStation, on your Xbox, you want to go play online competitive you want to go play multiplayer like we do on the Quest with every single game. Yeah, you can't do that for free. You got to pay them for their live, for their online usage.
Yeah, right out of the box.
So
too.
I'm not surprised they're able to offer those type of things when they have everybody who wants to play online, giving them $10 a month just to even play online with friends.
Yeah,
that's not the case in VR. Imagine if it
not yet.
Well, the thing is, if Meta ever went that route, the shitstorm of hate that would come, even though it's what the other console platforms do,
Well, here's the thing. I mean, nor Sony nor Microsoft could come out of the gate doing that. It took, over a decade?
And this is Microsoft who owns how many servers?
So I'm personally numb to it. If it's going to, that was my other thing is what's the true cost? What are they really charging you for it? Are they going to give you a discount if you do the annual versus the monthly or the 3-month or 6-month?
Yeah, there's so many questions. How many games?
What games? Thus far, I'm happy for it. I'm just not necessarily impressed with a 2 game per month drop. So
yeah, we'll see what
if it's 2 game per month with a fat discount on other games, then I might keep my pothole shut.
Well, and what's the cost of it? $5, $10, $15,
yeah, for some reason
$20?
I kept thinking $14.99, and I'm like, that's too high for the current
for VR. Yeah.
But $9.99, you know, I'll try it.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know if I will, just because I have so many games on our library.
Well, I'm gambling on the fact they'll start doing that day one releases for certain games.
When I go into co-op, on the store, like when I'm searching by co-op, I think I own every single but 2 games. It's like I already know how this Quest Pass would go. It'll be every month. It'll be games I already own.
Oh, it's very possible.
But I'm an outlier. Like we own a lot of the stores in our library.
Yeah, there's certain search genres that there's nothing really for me to buy.
Yeah,
nothing left. I mean, and if there is, it's probably something I don't want to buy.
It's minimal. But this was inevitable, though. We talked a while ago that we thought that they would do a Quest Pass, and you know, if not now, at least it's definitely in the works.
It's a start. I mean, I'm not upset about it. I posted my happiness about it. I was like, no, this is a good start. You know, forget the cloud servers. That's a entirely different conversation, which we know is going to happen anyway.
That was rumored. We talked about that about a year ago. That it was rumored. They called it, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, I think it was Project Avalanche.
Yeah,
something like that. And I haven't heard jack about it.
Last I heard about it was watching video and hearing a guy talk while they played Microsoft Flight.
But
remember at the...
Well, that wasn't even for the cloud servers. That was for...
Microsoft servers, right?
That was for playing flat screen Microsoft games on your headset. Like a year ago, there was rumors that they were working on like similar to like Plutosphere or Cloud... or Shadow PC, like a cloud gaming service, which to me is the no-brainer. But let's be real, even if they were working on it internally, since a year ago, they've now gotten this partnership with Microsoft, which you just referenced, of being able to play.
Oh, that's right. Because I had said the ideal thing would be for them to just use the Microsoft cloud server. Yeah,
a year ago that wasn't on the table. Now it is. Now it is. So it's like if they can partner up with Microsoft, I think that greatly expedites the potential to get cloud gaming out.
If they really partner with Microsoft, which I can't see how they won't get sued for this, both parties, because Sony's going to have a pretty deep argument. Because what does Sony have? Who can they partner with?
Argument for what?
Domination. Like
I don't know that there's any law against partnering with somebody. That's the opposite of a monopoly. You're not doing it alone.
But where does that put Sony? Or any other company?
I don't know. Like, I don't know that's illegal. There's nothing illegal about that.
There'll be an argument. Guaranteed. It's just, I mean, if you worked for Sony, would you not explore that option as to what recourse can we take here?
There is no, I can't think of anything.
Well, I'm not an attorney. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, look at what happens when they try to buy a studio that has no effect on anybody. And they're like tied up in federal court over it, you know? You're talking like two of the most largest fucking tech companies coming together.
But they're not. Yeah. They would be a partnership. It'd be different if they were looking to become like a league, like an actual entity together. I asked the question: what happens to the other companies?
Nothing. What option do they have to get into that market? None. The door's closed for you.
Into what market? The market they're already in?
No, dude.
They're in gaming. They're in.
You're not getting what I'm saying.
I'm 100% getting what you're saying. I just don't think that there's any legal ground at all. That's the way.
I'm not an attorney. I'm just saying I would be hard pressed to see somebody not saying, "How's this fair for us?" Like what we don't even have an option.
Option in what?
To take part in somebody else's already proven powerful cloud server who already dominates a huge field of the gaming market.
Sony does cloud gaming.
Yeah. So who can they partner with?
Themselves? Why would they need to partner? Yeah. What's the issue? They already do VR. They already.
I'll make the prediction. Although it will happen, gaming. I predict somebody's going to like do a little hemming and hawing. I'm not against it. I'm not against it at all. Man, we know from day one. I've said that. No one's more excited for that partnership than me. But I'll just see how smooth it actually happens.
It's hard to say a partnership is anti-competitive or monopoly. Acting in a monopoly. It's a partnership. That's the opposite of anti-competitive.
We'll see how it's We'll see how it's perceived.
Yeah.
But again, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a no-brainer. You should be able, I think the next generation of the Xbox, I'm speculating you're going to be able to use a Quest on. And I think we're going to see Xbox's servers on,
that'll get me the most excited.
Rolling out to cloud gaming on the Quest. Because imagine if Meta can go, look, $30 a month, whatever, and you can play PC VR games standalone on your headset. I would jump on it. Boom, sold.
Hell yeah.
One,
I wouldn't complain about a little better graphics.
Mm-hmm. And as
I'm playing games that I would never be able to play standalone.
I imagine server, like cloud gaming technology is probably not simple either. So like if they can kickstart it with Microsoft, that's saving
It's a vicious partnership.
Oh my goodness. World domination.
That's what I said, man. Instant world domination of the gaming market.
Yeah, dude. And again, I've always been a Sony guy. I've always owned a PlayStation, and I don't own this current generation of PlayStation 5 or the newest Xbox. If you could use a Quest on an Xbox, though, man, I'd be looking at jumping ship. And that's wild because I've always been a Sony guy. So I think it's a no-brainer for both teams, and I hope that is something that we're talking about in a year.
No, I know this year I'm buying an Xbox 10. Not because I want to or I can afford to, but because I have to, because I keep hearing rumors the new Grand Theft Auto is not really going to run on my...
You called it the 10 because of the X? Is that why?
Yeah. X.
Even though there's been like 5 Xboxes.
Yeah.
They just jump... They've had the weirdest
They got
naming.
the S, the 10, right, or the X.
We went Xbox, then we went 360, then we went to Xbox One.
Yeah.
And now, like, at
Xbox
least...
S.
And this isn't being a hater. Like
X.
I respect the Xbox and Microsoft. Like it's a very respectable console, but holy moly, has their like naming department.
Yeah,
somebody needs to sit down and go, chill out, bro.
They should have started with the 1.
Yeah.
And then the second one could have actually been the 360.
Yeah. I'm not saying this because I'm a Sony guy and like, oh yeah, everything Microsoft. No, I respect Xbox again, but Sony had it right with PlayStation, PlayStation 2.
No, they kept it pretty
PlayStation
simple.
3. It makes sense like that.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to bite the bullet this year.
Because how many hacks? Oh my God, there's been so many. Nonetheless. So that's it on the news. You know, pretty simple to start the week with that. You know, not loaded like last week. But what I'm most excited for this week is to talk about Walkabout Mini Golf's new Upside Down course.
Upside Downtown?
Upside Downtown.
I'm officially changing the name. I know, right? Because you go in there and you look up and there's a city up there and it's upside down and right side up. And
I was going to say, not just looking up and there's a city to your right.
Dude,
there's a city to your left. There's a city beneath you. There's a city everywhere.
The whole thing is a mind warp.
And before we get into it, I have to give you huge props for your first shot ever on the first hole of this course. You got a hole in one.
Hole in one, baby.
Dude, that was nice.
That's
and we were
video
recording
footage
too.
To prove. Oh yeah. Man, I would have been so disappointed if we didn't have that.
Because usually we don't record our first ever playthrough of it, and in this one we hadn't even gone in the course one time, and we started recording. Yeah. And you go in there, I mess up my first shot, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I hit it a little harder. And then you go, boop, and it goes, doop. Right
yeah,
in.
It bounced in too. That's the other thing. It didn't even roll in it. Like one bounce, ba-doom, ba-doom.
So huge props to you. But with a name like Upside Down, as you can imagine, this course is all over the place. Not only are the buildings and city on the sides, upside down, everything, that's where you're going to be taking your shots from too. Mm-hmm. You got to hit it off the wall.
Yeah, it doesn't turn you.
No, you're going to be hitting lefty.
Yeah, you're going to be forced to make shots technically above you, in front of you. And there's no, unless you stand on your head, you're not going to be able to hit it like normally would. So yeah, there was a lot of lefty shots we had to make.
Which good on them for their laser pointer method, where, you know, the way the clubs work in Mighty Coconut, it's really a laser pointer. It doesn't matter how far away or, you know, close your hand is. It's always going to be kind of laser pointing at the spot you're aiming at. So that's useful when you have to hit overhead. You don't actually have to like
stretch your arm out.
No, if you go down by your ear, it's still going to be touching.
Though.
Yeah, of course I
make it like real club length.
Immersion, you know?
It's so stupid.
But this
game,
they
crushed it.
Yeah, this 36 holes, you know, 18 on easy, 18 on hard. Mm-hmm. Of course, the hard is
ridiculous.
Hard. Not the biggest holes in this one, in the sense that like it's a little bit of a smaller course, I'd say. It felt a little bit more compact, but there's a lot going on in each hole. This course introduces new gameplay elements of
new gravity.
Yeah, these kind of like gravity. I don't even know, like they're like these like light up squares, and you'll see the gravitational pull on it. Meaning like some of them will pull up, some of them will pull towards the wall, some of them will go left. Opposite. Right? Yeah, So you kind of have to pay attention. And there's some that like you need to hit the gravity pull in order to complete the hole. And then there's some holes that you don't want to hit certain gravitational ones because they'll shoot you way into the sky or just mess you up. So you almost got to avoid them too.
Yeah, I would go into it with the forget everything you ever thought you knew about gravity and sense of world. Mm-hmm. And I think I even mentioned it's like literally living inside like an Escher drawing. It's like, and study the hole before playing each one to really get because there's some where you're shooting it off the edge and you got to like hook it into a
this was one
hook it into a cone hole there.
You beat me on score, but I was actually kind of happy because I did not mind going second on each hole.
You kept saying that too. At least I don't have to go first on the next hole.
Dude, I wanted to see you take your shot first, see what happens. Yeah, no, this was a really innovative one. It's probably their least traditional mini golf course.
You think?
I feel like
playing on a wall, you started on the ground, you end the hole on the wall, could end the hole on the ceiling, could end the hole back on the ground.
But let's be real, it's called Upside Down as well. You know what you're getting going into this one, too. That should be no surprise that this is how this course went.
I think it exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, I had a blast with it. I had an absolute blast. We were dying laughing playing this one, both on easy and hard.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm going to bring up right now, and people can see the video. You cheated.
Hey,
you cheated, man. I want Walkabout to fix this.
That was freaking hilarious. The best part is I did it accidentally.
And then you did it a couple more times just to see if it could really be done. And I'm talking about, I'll say it, putter dragging. Not hitting the ball, but just dragging it, like touching the ball and pushing it with the putter. Dude, you went like literally 6 inches. I called it like that was 3 hits.
Yeah. Well, because you could see it ricochet off of my putter a couple of times. Yeah.
I'm like, that's cheating.
If anybody watches the video that we posted of our first playthrough of it, you'll see me take one shot, and there's one that's a little questionable, and you call me out on it right away.
Yeah, I was standing right under it, and I'm like, no, you didn't hit the ball. You dragged the ball. I don't think that's legal.
I thought I was going to freaking pass out. I was crying.
Looking for an official rule book for...
I was like Bart Simpson laughing, dude.
I had tears in my eyes.
I lost it.
I can't believe I saw it. I'm like, holy. And then I was like, do you do this often? You know? And you're like, I felt myself doing it and I didn't stop. like you knew you were doing it. You're like, well, it's not telling me I can't. I think you even said that to me. Didn't say I couldn't. Didn't lose a stroke on it.
I'm trying to figure that one out, but it worked.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if you can actually do that all the time.
But I tested it a couple times, and there's like a space limit where it's like
probably like 6 inches.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
If you're within 6 inches, if you do this method, you have no excuse to not make it in.
But every time that I've accidentally, that's the worst. When you're ready to hit the ball and you accidentally touch it,
which I'll even still sometimes do, even with that trigger option.
Because I wish I had dragged it instead of hitting it. I wouldn't have been upset with a 6-inch move.
Better than a little tap.
Oh.
It's funny, even when I set that setting on in the settings that like pull the trigger in order to or the grip in order to take your hit, I'll still occasionally do it because I'm always holding my trigger in this game.
The worst part is you can't blame the game.
Yeah. Well, at that point, it's me.
It's totally me. I'm the one who's in control of this. Yeah.
But
I do the same shit.
I think they outdid it both in the gameplay, elements that they bring to this new course, but also in the aesthetics of it, like the whole cityscape in all different directions around you. You can hear the sirens going off in the city. You can hear buses and cars going by.
Yeah.
There's small little details, like there's at one point a mouse that steals a piece of pizza and runs into a hole with it. They outdid themselves, I think, again, both gameplay and aesthetically. Like, hats off to them.
I think if you look at every DLC they've come out, I mean, the consistency is there. Like the quality of content is definitely going to be there. They've never really done the same thing twice.
No.
Not even close.
No.
You would have figured at this point maybe a generic course would come out. Or how about an actual old-fashioned mini golf course? Almost kind of like the first one they did.
I think people are kind of itching for that right now. I saw some people on some of their Facebook groups that they have. They were being a little bit negative about the course. Where me, I loved it. I absolutely love this course. I thought it was innovative. I thought it was fun. It was silly. We laughed so much. But I did see a group of people, probably a vocal minority, as it usually goes with that stuff. It's like most people, 99% of people love it, and the 1% that didn't are going to scream louder than the 99%. But they were saying like, oh, I want a Walkabout, just traditional, standard mini golf course. Which I love both. I don't mind, but I get it.
I love, and like in real life mini golf, I mean, I love real life mini golf. It's fun. But this has opened up my brain to the limitless possibilities.
Yeah, I don't mind when they get like this.
Able to put together for a good experience. So I'm putting my trust in them. if they don't produce just a traditional, which at this point, I mean, how can you go from upside down or upside town, whatever, upside downtown is what I'm going to keep calling it, to like a traditional, okay, go through the windmill, do the little loopy loop. I don't want to go there.
To me, that's what they have the standard courses for. The DLCs are for this fun, the licensed stuff, the innovative gameplay.
I want to see how far they can push this.
So I absolutely, I see both sides. Whereas me as a consumer, I love these innovative kind of wonky DLCs, you know? Mm-hmm. I could also, I get somebody saying like, oh, I kind of want a traditional course. But to me, I would say, well, you have the whole base game for that. You know,
have to buy a DLC.
This is optional too. Yeah. You know, so me, I lean more towards the side of keep the wonkiness coming.
Yeah. I want to see how far they can actually push each thing. Because each one they come out with is going to be as good as one they've done, or in its own right, a little better.
And to me, these creative, aesthetic, and gameplay elements is part of the special magic touch of Mighty Coconut and Walkabout Mini Golf. You know, if they went completely back to this traditional...
Have they done anything that hasn't worked well?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I think the overall consensus on the course has been extremely positive. Mm-hmm. I just did see those couple people like, oh, I wanted a traditional course. But yeah, go play the base game.
I saw somebody griping about price.
Oh, no way.
Yep.
No way.
And then pretty much the consensus is
it's $4.
It's dude. Like so cheap.
Dude.
There's someone else who goes, support the damn dev.
Yeah. It's $4.
Yep.
How long will it take? Okay, so
again, that was like literally the 1% in the post though.
Let's be real. For me and you to both play it, only one of us needs to buy it if we really wanted to be, you know, as stingy as we could. So for $4, me and you, how long does it take to do one playthrough of Easy? Probably like, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Then a playthrough of...
If we're not screwing around.
Of hard. So you're looking at an hour for $4. Even if you only ever played this course one time.
$1 an hour.
Going through it on easy and hard.
It's going to cost you $12 if
you go play
in real life.
I was going to say, you go play a mini golf course in real life. It's going to cost you more than $4 for one of you to get in. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be as fun.
No, it was a funny argument. It was the last thing I ever thought I would ever read. When it came to a DLC from Walkabout.
And not only that, you're going to pay $12 for one person to go to a in-person mini golf course. And then if you ever want to play that course again, you got to pay $12 again. Whereas Walkabout, you pay $4. You own it forever, get to play it endlessly. And any of your friends that own the game don't even need to buy it. And they get to play with it as a guest pass, which I would tell them just buy the freaking DLC too, so you can go get the forbidden or the hidden balls, the lost balls. I don't know why I thought forbidden.
I don't know.
That was funny. And speaking of the lost balls or forbidden balls, as I just joked,
forbidden balls.
The forbidden ball sounds like
forbidden fruits.
Sounds like a new Manscaped product, but nonetheless,
I'm not putting anything on my body called forbidden balls.
Forbidden balls. All right, so I will say, even in the video that we posted of our first playthrough of this course with the lost balls, spoiler on it, you had found like 3 or 4 accidentally
just by looking, not searching, just by looking. Like, hey, here's the course. I'm like, holy shit, there's a ball staring me in the face. I couldn't ignore it.
I remember Atlantis was pretty hard finding the balls. Yep. So was the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Edward took a week off. That's all,
Well, no, it seems like he kind of referenced it when we interviewed him. He scales the difficulty of the balls with each course too.
Yeah, this one's definitely not the hardest ball hiding.
No, well, you look at one like Labyrinth where there was like a million spots to go and just jump around to. That's why I said earlier, this one's not in a negative way. It's just more of like a compact course. As such,
the ones I found, again, I didn't look for them. I didn't look for any on any hole. Just standing in my place, waiting my turn.
Oh, man, I found a ball.
And I'm like, what do I do? It's like, I already saw it. If I saw it, the video saw it.
There was even one hole that seemed to have 2 balls.
Yeah, there were. One could argue that they were actually, I questioned whether they were the same hole because they were like that close to each other, but it actually was the end of one hole and the beginning of another. Yeah, I was like, oh shit. Didn't mean to do that either, but I took them.
Yeah, so this one, an extremely fun course to me. I love the aesthetics of it. I love the gameplay of it.
Dude, I had a blast.
The balls, if you like to hunt the lost balls, it's not going to be your hardest hunt ever, but it's still going to be a blast. I always like the hunting for the balls too, because that's some of the moments you really take in the scenery and the aesthetics because you're looking around so in-depthly for everything.
Our usual MO is before we ever record something is we'll play it once just to be able to look. But there's been times where we have killed our entire playtime, which could be a couple hours.
Yeah, only got through the front 9.
Just walking around, looking in every nook and cranny, and then doing we got to think like Walkabout, dude. How would think like Walkabout?
Let's put our coconut caps on,
Then you find out like in one of the courses we did, you could go up wicked high, and you're like, oh, okay. So now we're looking for aerial shot. We waste so much time looking for balls.
It's so much fun, dude. It's one of the best parts of the course.
To know it's there and not find it. And so let's be honest, some holes have been really short in some of the games we've played, and it's like it's been a struggle. Like, how can you hide something so good in such a small area?
No, some of the DLC courses are brutal with. I remember 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea in specific really stuck out.
I remember I made the argument that I bet you it's actually, there's a reason why you don't see it, because until you pass by a certain area 3 times,
and he's like, no,
then
that's
the
not
ball shows up, like, come on, man. It just seems so like, how could I have missed that when you end up finding it? It's like, this doesn't make sense. But we've already figured out it's always about angles with finding those balls.
It's perspective shots. And the hard course on this one is a blast too, the way that they utilize the gravity, both in the easy and the hard, is really creative. It's gravity. Again, we said it pulls in all directions in this course. So it's not just gravity pulling you down. It's you really got to be smart about, the speed in which you hit these gravitational pulls, the angle in which you hit it. I mean, just classic Walkabout mechanics. So
yeah, it definitely is, especially for group fun, which their courses are always good for. This one's definitely a good one for that.
And I know I already said it, but how good are the aesthetics in this course? Like,
just wicked good. But again, when are they not?
Yeah, that's what happens when you get people like, Don Carson, Edward Felix out there, working hard. Don Carson, former Disney Imagineer.
I've always said if you went to Walkabout or Mighty Coconut Walkabout, I just can't even call them.
Oh, I say the terms interchangeable.
Mighty Walkabout, Mighty Coconut's headquarters, and like asked who's in charge of housekeeping or janitorial services, you'd probably be amazed at what the background of that person was, because they really just cherry picked
former janitor for the president or something.
I worked in the White House for 14 years, came out of retirement just to work for Walkabout.
No, it's something we've seen endlessly with that. It's a dream team.
Yeah, dude. Every single person we've talked to from their team is like, after we're done, I'm always like, are you kidding me, dude? Did you hear the shit that guy said? Disney Imagineer, for Pete's sake. On the subject of Don Carson, though, because you follow him on Instagram, I do as well.
Yep. He highly recommend following him if somebody doesn't on IG, and checking our interview that we did with him. Dude, former Disney Imagineer. I can't say it enough.
He posts these illustrations like this is, it's a copy of the hand-drawn sketch of what they used for where it appears hand-drawn. It could be digital. I don't care.
The concept art, basically.
So I'm thinking, how Mighty Coconut sells posters now, which I would encourage people go to their shop, check out their posters. We'd love to riddle the studio behind us with them. They're that good. But it got me thinking. It's like, I think if I were going to pay and had the option for one of the illustration posters,
you'd want one of the Don Carson early concept ones?
Hell yeah. Dude, I'll take a napkin drawing from that guy. Well, it's no joke. It's like, because you're seeing the conception of like, this is like the thought process coming together, and this is the basic sketch of what it's going to be. And then if you own that to look at, and then you're actually playing the course, it's going to give you a much better appreciation, I think, for that course.
And it's cool to look at it comparatively from where it was then to where it is at release. Yeah.
And yeah, like on his, you could see where the start and end greens are on all the holes, but everything in between there was the actual sketch. It's like, come on, man.
Imagine what that must look like inside his head as he's as it's going on. He's like, all right, I got to put that into paper.
How?
He's probably discovering it as he's...
A 3D world. I mean, and it's all got to fit together because the holes are all connected one way or another. You can go anywhere in that little world. So even though you might be on hole 3, jump to hole 7. It's all got to work together. There's no... I couldn't find any mistakes at all, dude.
And going back to our interview with him, which again, just to plug it, highly recommend listening to.
Yeah.
He views VR as basically like taking the limits away from the previous creation. Yeah. It's like now it's limitless. Now you can do anything. So, but I'm so excited for for anything else they're bringing. They already announced their next course, which is a collaboration course. So Walkabout doesn't stop.
Meow Wolf?
Yeah. I didn't want to say the name incorrect. I was going to pull it up in a minute.
Meow Wolf.
Yeah. Yep. They do like a immersive experience.
It looks trippy.
I've never experienced one, but was watching some videos, and it looks like a huge, this just how it appeared from the video I saw of like a giant interactive room with like slides, like literal, like a slide. Like the whole room was like interactive, and it looked quite very trippy,
very artistic. But yeah, the drawing,
psychedelic too.
Pictures I've seen it look pretty trippy. But yeah. I want them to sell the sketches.
Now imagine when that psychedelic interactive collaboration course comes out. That's going to be a fun one. Ooh, they don't stop.
Be funny if they gave you a choice between the red pill or the blue pill before it starts, and then that totally changes whether or not you're going to get the.
Well, don't
advocating.
Don't even get me started on, the franchise courses. Why not a Matrix course? That would be awesome. That the easy course,
anything.
Easy course is one pill. Hard course is the other pill.
Right. Do you take the red or the blue?
And then we say endlessly Star Wars courses. Dude, you could do whatever.
Jurassic Park. Mm-hmm. No, I wait anxiously. I'm just selfish. It's like I want hundreds of them, but I mean, it'll come.
I think. I hope their sales are good with it. I think that the overall, besides that little small vocal crowd that was like, I want a traditional course. Dude, for the most part, the feedback looks amazing.
Look at how much they've grown over the past couple of years. I mean, from out of the gate, there's never been really any negativity. Obviously, a fantastic company. It continues to grow. It seems like it's growing even more now. I mean, I was thinking of it the other day, and I'm like, did he ever think it was going to be like this? Or was this just...
No, he's one. I'd love to get Lucas Martel back on, the creator.
I think our opportunity where we were able to talk to him was probably...
Well, because the first time we talked to him, they were obviously very successful, but you can tell that the team has, like you just referenced, it's grown so much. They seemed a smaller operation way back when we talked with him versus...
That's
today,
why
they're like a machine.
Anytime we've thought of like, oh, it'd be great to have Lucas back on, I've always just been like, have your people talk to my people type of thing,
Well, and he's big on just beyond VR. He's very successful in the animation side of things too, in like cinema animation, not like VR.
So, I know it's
so
bizarre.
He's all over the place. He's busy,
But just another example of people that come from that film industry.
Oh, that kill it and
jump over to VR and just crush it. I mean,
well, again, we say it all the time. Something that makes Walkabout kind of unique and the Mighty Coconut team unique, as much as we call them an all-star team and a dream team, which they are. Part of that is that it's not people from VR backgrounds. It's like, not per se. It's these high-level other fields that are transferring over into VR and doing it at a high level. So it's really unique and really cool to see.
Yeah, but look at their team, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, it's one thing to be like, you're the, if you're like NBA team where you got like two good guys who are the best on the team. It's like everybody's part of that team. That's great.
Yeah.
So it's like, I give them credit. I'm just amazed at how much they've grown and continue to, and the influence they have in the industry.
I was trying to think of which type of course I like more for their DLCs. They're self-made ones like Upside Down, or they're like collaboration courses like, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Labyrinth, I'm like, ooh, they're both so good,
I might go with their license.
I think so too. I was leaning a little bit that way.
Only for nostalgic reasons or but I say that and I'm thinking of the ones that aren't and I'm like,
they're still damn good. That's why I said I'm torn on it, but I do lean a little bit towards licensed as well.
That's just because of familiarity.
Well, and I think it brings bigger attention to it too, Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, and they're out there in communities too. I think they were in, were they in LA and they were in
they're in
Texas?
Yeah, they're in Austin.
Well, I thought they ran 2 events just this past week.
Yeah, they did. I'm going to mess up the conference name.
Yeah, don't even bother with that.
There's a conference.
But they were at, didn't they just do Dave & Buster's in a couple of spots too?
I think like 4 different states.
Yeah.
As part of their launch.
That's
they did like LA, Boston, not Boston, LA, Salt Lake, Austin.
So it's like they don't just rely on store and And I know the conference you're thinking of. I always think it's kind of got a sexual innuendo with the, like SCXX or something.
There's a snowboarding game that used to be on like the PlayStation 2 that the name reminds me a lot of too.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
If anybody else has those brain connections, you're gonna laugh because I bet you I'm not the only one crouching those wires. You know.
Yep.
But no, yeah, huge props to them. I think that they're at that point of like bigger than the headset, whereas most people are relying on the Meta Store or Steam or PlayStation VR 2 to push them. I think these stores are glad to have Walkabout on. It's the opposite, you know?
Yeah, dude.
But nonetheless, something that before we move on, because I'm going to forget to say it, and I've been itching to say it and since the start, and it just keeps slipping from my mind. I have a feeling this whole course came from that one hole in Labyrinth. Remember that one hole in Labyrinth with the gravity all messed up where you hit it and it like...
The Escher one.
Yeah, and it like bounces up and down. There's the kid crawling in the background, the giant baby.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that they designed that hole, and then that day they wrote on that whiteboard, like, we got to do something crazy with gravity.
You don't think it was already written on the whiteboard?
That'd be a good thing to try
cherry picked off of it.
That'd be a good thing I'd love to ask them to find out, because I have a feeling it came from that hole. That's my gut, but you could be right that this was already in the works before that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
would gamble it was, but I just don't know with them because I know about the whiteboard.
Yeah, we've heard.
And I know that it's got so many ideas on it that everybody quarterbacks everything. So they go, well, if I did a hole, I would make this. Well, guess what? I bet you if you pitched it, they've already got it written down. There's probably nothing you're going to suggest they haven't already.
I think the biggest leak in the whole industry of VR would be that whiteboard leaking more than headset.
You know what I mean? There'd be some shady people that would be like, we got to get on this. You know what a good one would be? This is a little out there, but Heaven and Hell.
Oh,
Heaven's the easy course, Hell's the hard course.
Yeah, you know that the reception of that would be so...
who cares?
Yeah.
Who's it going to offend?
I know.
Heaven and Hell?
Mm-hmm. It'd be a cool concept. I think I always stick to my Star Wars one, though. That's just my number one. That's all I want. Give me a Millennium Falcon hole, Tatooine hole.
I don't think the Falcon's big enough. I thought we talked about that before.
For one single hole?
Oh, for one hole, yeah.
Yeah, so give me a Tatooine hole.
I was thinking like you could take one of the destroyers and you could do a hole 18 in there. Or the Death Star.
Well, that's the thing. You could do it two different ways. You could do a whole course on one single
And there's schematics for every one of those vehicles. Mm-hmm. So,
or you zoom out to you know how you go to the big view and you can see the whole course? Yeah. The big view would be all the different planets and ships, that you're going to visit. There's so many different ways to do it.
Yeah, Star Wars is obviously... I think we're both on board with that one, but I'll take whatever they give. I got full faith in them.
You go to Mustafar, you see these two Walkabout figures in the background. That's Anakin and Obi-Wan, lightsaber fighting in the background. Dude.
They'd have to go through Disney for that, wouldn't they?
That's the trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Disney is...
Problem number one.
Disney is, in some cases, extremely generous with licensing, and in other cases, extremely stingent. But they have a Disney Imagineer.
I'm saying this, and in my head, I'm like...
They have a Disney Imagineer.
Disney's all about the numbers.
Yeah.
So if they see a reason for it, then they'll do it.
If there's any game and company with the numbers to back up licensing, it's Walkabout and Golf Plus.
And isn't one of Lucas Martel's specialties licensing?
That's never been confirmed to us, but that's just us on the outside looking in, saying, "Holy moly!"
You just don't snatch up these licenses because
Labyrinth
you don't know what
missed. Yeah,
correct.
That doesn't happen now. Meow Wolf,
you got some juice.
Yeah,
you got some juice, bud.
Yeah,
nice, dude. We got to get him back.
Yeah, so
Let's make a ploy.
I don't think that you'll ever hear a bad Walkabout mini golf DLC review out of us, but just for anybody who was a little bit curious. Another course that's worth every penny. Between the easy mode, the hard mode, innovative, great aesthetics,
cheaper than a large cup of coffee.
That's what I say, and you get multiple playthroughs of it. You
own it.
You own it. I haven't done the fox hunt on it to get the new club. I've heard a lot of people say the new club is really good and that the fox hunt was fun. But if you do the fox hunt, just be prepared to be all over the place directionally. Like, I saw some people say that they even got motion sick, but that makes sense if you're teleporting 5 times every second and, going upside down and on walls and all that stuff. But before we get into the Guardians Frontline, I kind of wanted to take the opportunity before we forget to shout out our Patreon supporters, the people who are on the tier for the on-air shout out. Because we do have other patrons.
Go for it.
But they're on the just supported. So
Which there's nothing wrong with.
If you, no.
Then even
I
some
appreciate
people,
the love.
It's well known. I mean,
yeah, if you
not everyone wants their name read, so just because you support that doesn't mean we're going to force it on you.
I'll even say, so on that, if you do the on-air shout out just because you want to support more, but you don't want your name shouted out, tell us. Or if you want something alternative, like you want us to shout out your dog or your cat or something like that, I'll do it too. I'll shout out your turtle. I ain't got
it's your money.
Your money, my mouth, you know. But
not even touching that, you slut.
Our Patreon supporters on our shout out tier, which, you know, again, thank you for the love. We have Amelia, we have Crispy, and we got Shoes. And not only with this tier do you get your on-air shout-out, which much love, you also, if you use Discord, get access to an exclusive chat room in our Discord server just for Patreon supporters. That is honestly a lot of fun, too. There's really good conversation in there. We do some exclusive giveaways just for our Discord supporters and our Patreon supporters. So, yeah, you know, definitely go check that out. You can find the link to our Discord and our Patreon right in our show notes, our episode description. You know, again, much love. Thank you, Amelia, Crispy, and Shoes. You know, it goes a long way. So on that note, let's go right in. Ooh, actually, there's one more thing I want to go over before we go into Guardian Frontline. We did another little Q&A. Last time we got like 7-8 responses, something like that on our Q&A. Mm-hmm. But we started pushing it pretty much right on Sunday the week before, you know. This time we kind of threw it out on a Wednesday. You know, recording on the weekend, we didn't get as many questions, so we only got 2, but I figured I'd answer them. One of them we're not going to really be able to answer too much just because of lack of experience in that regard, so let's start it with that one. You know, we had one person ask us, what's your favorite haptic experiences in VR? Are there any where you think haptics were a killer use case or would have been sorely missed if not present? So unfortunately, being standalone poor people, we don't have the full haptic setup right now or anything like that. We're actually not the most experienced in, you know, haptic experiences. You know, if you want me to say what I think is the best, what I would imagine would be the best haptic experiences, anything shooter, like Pop 1, you know, Contractors, that'd be cool. And I think haptics for something like Thrill the Fight would be the best, you know? Vibrations on you whenever you're getting punched.
Yeah, my haptics are whatever happens through the controller at the moment.
Yeah, I'll say
what
that.
Else I might envision it would be, but it's my understanding. I mean, someday we'll have it, but
yeah, as
of now, no. Unfortunately, no.
I could see if
can't fairly answer the question without knowing like what haptics feel like already in Pop 1.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Again, I think the best answer I can give is what I would speculate would be fun, not what I actually guarantee is fun. But you know,
I don't know. That's the answer.
Yeah, but I think that'll go back to our honesty thing. We will never lie to anybody. You know, if we have something to disclose, or
I'll bullshit you a little, but I won't lie. Just for fun, for sport.
Yeah, I'll troll you a bit.
Yeah,
but I'm not gonna lie to you.
No.
But so yeah, no real, not enough in-depth haptic experience.
Good question. We just don't have a good answer.
Yep, but I definitely appreciate the question being asked and then contributing to the conversation. And on that, we also had another question from.
And I'll bet the person who wrote it owns haptic.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you know what? How I take that is that somebody who wants to hear us talk about those things.
Perhaps. Next question.
But the next question we got: what are some games you really want to play on your ever-growing backlog list that you keep, and what do you think you'll never get to play realistically? You want to start it off? What do you think?
There's one that I keep kind of picking at, but then get sidetracked. Is Intercosmosis, which I'm, it's a great friggin' game, and sometimes it pains me when we have to shelve stuff or we just don't get around to it. But that one sticks out as probably the one that I really want to finish and get into more than I have.
You know which one sticks out heavy for me?
What's that?
Heavy. Song in the Smoke.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It kills me every time I see that in my library and we haven't reviewed it, haven't beaten it. I'm sad because I know it's a great game. I've heard nothing but amazing things. The developer is hardworking, It's just every week there seems to be like a new release, something kind of taking the forefront. But that's one that.
And in full disclosure, and I know we've mentioned it before, that like we have our own set list of like games we've bought and paid for with our money and that we want to review. But if a developer is going to be nice enough to send us keys to his game or her game, then we're gonna push it before the games we paid for. I think it's just respectful of how we do it. So that's one of the reasons why we do end up with a backlog. It's not by like poor planning, or it's just like
things happen.
Showing respect to somebody who paid for it for you versus you paying. I feel more obligated to reward that person than I do myself.
Agreed. And there's even some examples like a game like Prison Boss, but you could review that tomorrow. We beat that game a while ago. You know, we just never actually got around to the review. There's
still fun as hell game.
Yeah. So
big Cartman looking character.
So Song of the Smoke is probably my number one for games on the backlog that we haven't reviewed and beaten yet. That kills me. And then there's also like Vacation Simulator, Job Simulator, and Fisherman's Tale are probably the three also that stick out to me.
Fisherman's Tale I'd love to do.
Yeah, so.
But I say that and then
something's going to come out.
Something happens.
Mm-hmm. That's the way it goes, you know. Fast Travel Games just announced that their next published game, a roguelite, is coming out soon. Roguelites are so hot right now. You know, we're reviewing the Light Brigade Wednesday, which I was skeptical going in because I went another roguelite, you know. And what do you know? We ended up having to delay our whole review of it for 1 week because we love the game so much. We're like, no, we got to get farther in it. There's still more we got to do. So I got a weird relationship with roguelite. Every time I hear roguelite, I go, ugh, another one.
I roll my eyes a little.
But then
it's not my genre.
Yeah, I say that, but then I seem to like them in VR. So as much as it's not my genre, for some reason, a well done one. This one coming up, unfortunately, doesn't seem like it has co-op, which is like a co-op roguelite. Look at how much we played Mother Gunship just off that aspect.
Neither does the one we just
Light
been
Brigade?
playing. Yeah. It's like we say it with all of them is like the home run for those that would change my attitude. I think like, and I'm not saying like they're bad, but co-op, that's a game changer.
Yeah,
you know, I might even forgive you in a couple of things if it's co-op. The one we're going to talk about on Wednesday, definitely a great example. I mean, a great game, but would it be better co-op?
I think it would go from a great game to one of our most played games if it was co-op.
Yeah, but that VR shared experience for any game, I think, is a home run.
Yeah, so great questions there. You know, unfortunately, we didn't have much answer on the haptic, but you know, again, I appreciate the question being thrown in there too. And
you could always pay your neighbor to just watch you play it on TV and just punch you in the right spots where they believe. You know, hit you with a stick if you know you're playing a sword game or
hot
something.
Spoon if you're playing a shooter. You know,
touch your skin. There's ways around. You can get affordable haptics.
Homemade haptics.
Give the neighborhood kids something to do.
So, and again, I know I just mentioned it. You know, I keep saying it, but you know, huge thank you to our Patreon supporters and also all the members that are active on our Discord, keeping the community and the conversation always going with, you know, responding to stuff like the Q&A. And like, if you go on our Discord right now, it's popping. Like, it's a great time. You know, it's very welcoming. So huge props to everybody in there. That's kind of
and if you're not on Discord, it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's
get
like,
out.
Discord's
Get out.
like I look at Discord as like that's probably your most hardcore tech user.
Yeah,
will be involved in Discord. Where a lot of people, it's a very new thing.
Well, you want to hear the perfect example of that? I didn't use Discord as a user before creating it for the podcast. I was very overwhelmed. I was like, I don't understand this at all. So even me as the person creating and hosting the server, I was overwhelmed, didn't understand it. It had to grow on me. You know, now I love Discord, but I had to
let's be honest, we get a lot of help too from the people in our Discord.
Our moderators, you know, 100%. A lot of
stuff with putting in the bots appropriately and really running the show.
But again, that kind of goes back to what I was just saying. You know, I huge props and thank you to the people that are day-to-day part of why that community is such a good place. And that's also kind of on that. You know, you said it's okay if you don't join Discord too, but also don't be scared if you don't understand Discord, because most of us really didn't, it seems. So if you don't go in there, join it, and you'll learn as we go. We'll teach you what to do. So last piece of kind of news, you know, Guardians Frontline, they dropped this past March 9th, along with, you know, half the freaking story. You know,
Peaky Blinders.
March 9th had, Walkabout's new course, Peaky Blinders, Guardian Frontline, and Pop 1 going to free to play. So, you know, March 9th was definitely a big day, but in that Guardian Frontline, like I referenced at the start of the episode, a game that we reviewed on App Lab and freaking Loved it. It's first-person shooter meets, real-time strategy, base defense. It's wild,
It has all the makings of things that we definitely enjoyed.
You know what is also included in that? Co-op. It's co-op. It's up to 4-person co-op. And based off of our experience of playing like the hardest difficulty.
Insane mode
as they call it. The second hardest difficulty, you can definitely get away with doing 2 people. The hardest game mode, the hardest difficulty, man, I don't see how we could do that.
You can't.
Us. I think you need 4 people.
I would love to see video if someone's like, dude, I do it solo.
Are you trying to find your...
Yeah, I'm curious. I can't remember what... And I was thinking about this earlier in the week.
What you gave it for a score?
What I gave Guardians for a score. Because the only area where I've seen the biggest change in the game is the graphics. And like if you go to the shooting range, it is 100% different than it used to be. Your main hub area is definitely better. And they've definitely tightened up but they didn't lose out on the gameplay. So I'm just curious what my...
Yeah, a lot of the core game is the same, even to the point of like the campaign missions and a lot of the weapons and stuff.
Notes.
Yeah, dude, we've done so many episodes at this point.
So many notes.
Reviewed 100 games between, official store and App Lab. So yeah, there's a lot of notes to say the least. But Guardians is always one that stuck out in App Lab. And if you really want our in-depth thoughts and review of it, I would say our App Lab review of it is overall still pretty relevant. Again, not much has changed besides the aesthetics of it.
So whatever we ended up giving it for graphics, you can up that because the graphics are better.
But it's tight,
No glitches.
No, I noticed sometimes the avatar movement, like example, your character on my screen, sometimes he looks a little janky in his movement, but that's very common with a lot of full body avatars too, and that's really the only complaint.
You know what I read about the half body thing? Because there's been some times we've been playing and you only see half my body. Mm-hmm. It's more of a network issue than it is a game issue.
Okay.
Somebody was having some issue, I guess, with a Walkabout with the avatar.
Mm-hmm.
And couldn't see clubs, and then they pretty much figured out, like, nope, that's network issue, not game issue. So I was wondering if just because of network.
It's possible.
Yeah, that actually made me feel good, though.
Yeah, and what's cool is, the game launched, and we went and saw the server list, and there were 6 pages of servers going on, of like games going on. I was like, that's awesome.
Freaking awesome.
That means that there's what seemed like an active community. So really tightened up graphics.
Dude, it's a great game.
Yeah, and they tightened it up without losing the core fun of the gameplay, which is your classic first-person shooter elements. Plus, you have to strategically place drones, droids, turrets, anti-air, mine extractors in various different type of game modes, like defending your base. You have to it's more stationary. You just defend it from waves. There's ones that you have to follow kind of your mine extractor thing and keep it safe. There's other ones you have to clear the whole area. So plenty of different style of game modes for
you got to work as a team too.
That's the big thing. It's essential.
Especially in the harder.
Mm-hmm. Dude, we should have recorded us trying to do intense.
All right. You know what I gave Guardians?
Ooh, you found it.
Of course. I also found something else that we were talking about, but I won't go back to it. The time we reviewed it had a 4.8 on App Lab.
Wow.
With 273 ratings,
mm-hmm.
which for App Lab in itself is pretty monumental. But
yeah, it was a popular game back then.
They got a 90 out of me.
90. What'd you give them for aesthetics? 15. So would you say?
Which is, you know what?
I don't know if I could go all the way up to a 20.
I'll say the imagery, like in the shooting range, is a 20. Like the background, like the freaking the solar system out there. But the game itself, I would probably still keep it a 15.
I also feel like we've gotten tougher with aesthetics since back then.
You have to. Thank you, Red Matter, too.
Yeah.
And then
especially
aesthetics are, I mean, gameplay was a 20. So, I mean, I wouldn't change that a bit. I would hold it as still a 90. Mm-hmm. Value for money was a 20. Replayability was a 20 because it's co-op. Oh, you know what it was? Was Mother Gunship Forge. Remember we were saying, like, there's a great example of a game that's co-op, blah, blah, blah. They get a 95 out of me.
Yeah.
Where if it wasn't co-op,
and that was before they even had the full, like the endless mode and co-op and stuff like that.
That was the early days of, what a killer game. But no, Guardians,
dude, we love real-time strategy.
I was hoping that they would change just enough to give it some traction on the store, but I think they did. They just tightened up some of the backgrounds. I'm sure some functionality issues we never knew about were taken care of. You know, some new weapons or some crap. But
luckily, I didn't really have any bugs when we played at all. The only bug I encountered was, again, a little jankiness with your character at times, which could just be network. And there was one time that, you know, your full avatar didn't appear either. You were kind of just a floating gun. But again, that could have been just network.
Because I could see myself.
Yeah.
But you couldn't see me. So that had to be network.
Well, and full disclosure, too, just to be transparent, that was prior to the official launch of the game. You know, we had a little bit of early access, checking it pre-release. And then as soon as the full game was out to the public, it was gone, too. So it could have just been a little bit of like, maybe the servers weren't fully up and running yet type of deal, you know?
If they continue to build upon what they've now put out, they can ride this out for years. My fear is like anything else that, you know, it's out there, it works, it's functionable, there's enough to keep you happy. You want to talk about the map creator, dude?
I was just about to get in that because as tight as the graphics have gotten, the gameplay's still good. That's the big updater.
Get the hell out of here. Look, I'm going to be the first to say, usually when I see map editor, I'm like, got this thing in the bag. I'll see you in 10 minutes. I'm going to bang out a map.
No. We need to dedicate a week to this.
Hell no. Because you can change the landscape size. So I opened it up to the biggest.
Yeah.
And then
you can do it with friends,
yes,
too.
you invite. You know what it made me feel like?
What?
This is going to be so lame. Remember we were talking with somebody from Walkabout, and they're like, oh, yeah, we can all go into the server and build at the same time. You can be working on this. I can be building that.
It felt like a little mini version of that.
Yeah. With no having to do anything from scratch because it's all like
preset templates.
Yeah.
Because they give you all the options. You can raise the landscape, lower it, flatten it, demolish, build whatever.
Right now, hands down, the best map editor I've ever seen in VR.
For user intuitive.
Holy shit. Imagine if Walkabout did a map editor.
Yeah. Don't even.
Dude.
A custom map thing. Yeah. Don't even get me started.
I don't know why it took this long for my brain to go that direction.
Because you could go
especially with all
thing.
Well, what if they gave you all the assets from every one of the? Because that's the thing. Going back to Guardians, because yes, I keep focusing on Walkabout. The amount of items that you can pick from, it's humongous. It's not like, oh, you know, there's 12 different things you can do. Literally the best map editor I've ever used in VR.
Well, the fact that it's co-op makes it even freaking better. And they let you do, I mean, first thing we did,
you will be building better maps, guaranteed, than any of the maps that you can pick from.
And you can even edit like the spawn points of the enemies, the intensity of the spawn points, like.
And for each level, they give you all the, like, it's 7 different waves or whatever. You can dictate each one.
Well, that's the thing too. You can set which type of game mode you're going to do.
And it looks like you can publish them. So
you know the community is going to go crazy.
Dude, we have endless co-op. Look what happened with Pop 1. Turn it over as a little tiny little map editor. And now they're at the level of, we're
going to put some of it in the...
How much work did they just save themselves?
Oh. Dude, we have endless co-op missions now. The fact that we can build our own and download other people's.
You can make it so you can never win.
Oh, just make an absolutely impossible one?
Yep, you could totally do that.
Well, we could also make one where we go obscene with mine extractors right near us.
That's my plan.
Just have an easy one just to get started.
That's what I used to do in Red Alert 2 map editors. I'd always do like a huge map, but I'd make it like a winding thing. So you had to like wind back and forth. Like only flying things are going to clearly go across the map. And I'd give fair resources for both sides, but in this case, the enemy doesn't need resources. They actually destroy them. And just give yourself a full mine's worth of harvesting money and just see what you can do. But put it on insane. And then you do it on 2 people.
Dude, we got our ass kicked so bad.
But again, make it so that they have to, you know, we'll figure it out. We're going to have too much fun. But yeah, plan on spending way too much time in a map editor.
I had to rip us out of it. I had to be like, dude, we're not going to play anything else.
It's going to be like midnight.
I was like,
and you said, all right, we got to get out of here.
10 minutes later,
like 10 minutes later, you're still fucking around with stuff. I'm like, this is great. We ain't ever leaving this.
I wasn't saying it because you were dicking around. I was saying it because it was both of us. I was like, I see the danger in this. We're not going anywhere.
I was just leveling Earth, like flattening out. I'm like, I want the world flat.
We'll start from scratch.
Yep.
You know? No, dude, they did.
Yeah, maybe I'll work on that a little tonight.
Well, Gods of Gravity's map creators, amazing, but we do it single. Meaning like you work on it and or I work on one, then we can present it to each other. The fact that we can build it together that's a co-op experience of itself.
And it lets you save it. So
Dude, before we ever even play the map, we're doing co-op together building. Kind of, if you think of it like that. It's a fun co-op experience.
Well,
it's
it didn't
social
exist
VR.
before.
Yeah. They had a map editor, but it was janky.
Yeah,
dude, it was like not real.
Again, this is by far right now to date. I challenge anybody to say, no, on the store right now, this game's got that, and this is the map editor. I just haven't seen it.
And your progress carries over from App Lab. So we didn't restart with no guns. We just picked up where we left off, which was actually pretty nice. So enhanced graphics, tight gameplay, it's still fun. Like I said, just tighter aesthetics, but the real upgrade to me comes in that map editor.
Yeah, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
Because then again, you can build 10 freaking maps with you and your friends and have them progressively get harder.
Dude, if the replayability wasn't 20 before, that map editor puts it to a 20.
I think I had it as a 20.
Yeah, I know so you did. You can't go up on it.
You know what? I mean, a 90's a 90. Where they got gigged last time.
They still get gigged now.
Yeah, nothing changed other than the game's better.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad. Yeah, Mother Gunship Forge.
No, so huge props to
95. Holy Moses.
Yeah, Mother Gunship Forge. There's a reason why it won multiplayer game of the year for us for our awards. But
yeah, gameplay 20, aesthetics 15, functionality 15, replayability 20.
You might be able to argue to go up to a 20 on functionality. But we'd have to play a little bit more just to make sure there's no glitches. Because 20 on functionality is like, you got to reserve it when there's
something. There was a reason why functionality was 15. There was something that happened.
I had a couple little hints of something felt jank.
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel confident.
But yeah,
one
could argue 20. I'd have to really go in.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens when we're both really cranking on the map editor.
Yeah, that's real. Let's stress test it a bit.
Yeah. But right now, I would say it's still a 90, and it could be a 95.
Look, if you liked Guardians before, you're still gonna love it. In fact, you're gonna love it more.
You're gonna love it more.
If you hadn't played Guardians, if you like co-op games, you like first-person shooter, you like real-time strategy. Man, and this game has PvP in it too, but we don't even touch it. We're all about the co-op, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
and I know PvP goes up to 8 players.
In a testament to people are looking to play this game, I had created a server and I didn't password it, and I'm like, no big deal, because you're literally waiting for me to say, okay, join the server, and I'm like, okay, I started it, and then
5 seconds,
boom, somebody jumps in. I'm like, holy crap!
And again, dude, 6 pages of server, so.
That's awesome to see.
Yeah.
They're going to crush it.
Yeah.
They got but the future of it to me, well, they can live off that map editor for the rest of their lives. They don't have to do nothing.
Those maps, the favorite community ones could be official.
Map of the month, map
could be
of the
official.
week.
They can make them official maps.
Of course.
Why not?
It's genius.
Yeah. I love your Walkabout idea though, of Walkabout doing it, because then you could even do like the most popular community ones become an official paid DLC. You give $1 to the creator. It's like a content creation program too. It's freaking magic.
Depending on the assets they let you pick, but the fear to me with that is somebody in the community will always build something better. Like I was kind of hemming and hawing with
You see that with modders.
When Pop 1, allowed for map creation, I was like skeptical. I'm like, it's going to be a bunch of shit maps, but some of them right now, as it stands,
good enough to get added to the game
for their size and for what they've done, are some of the most amazing things you'll ever walk into. Some of them are pure crap, but some people have really they I don't know how they do it so good, but they crushed it, and it's like shit. So it's working for them. So, but I'd be worried if I was Walkabout that someone would start building better courses than you have. So why do that?
So before we wrap this baby up, because we've passed that hour point, we're on another marathon one. We've been having a lot of fun the last couple weeks. I gotta say, we have a new sponsor, and I'm so excited to announce this one, because this one's very relevant to our niche. Just like Kiwi is. I love Manscaped too. They're longtime sponsors.
Keep my balls shaved.
Yeah, so it's not like I'm saying, not because they're great. But this one is called Mindway VR, and it is a new mindfulness meditation app on the MetaQuest store, and it is freaking awesome. It's available free to try, and then if you fall in love with it, they have like upgrade plans from there. There's like a monthly one, a yearly one, and a lifetime pass too. But, I'll let you kind of explain a little bit about it, because you were the first one. You tried it before me, and you blew me up. You were like, dude.
Yeah.
And then the next day I heard about it. So the next day I heard about it, and you're like, dude, this Go try that out. It's freaking awesome.
I am like full disclosure because we know that they are a sponsor. So it's like out of fairness.
We can't give it a review.
Can't throw a number on it. But here's the reality of my situation. When I was real young, because my brain never stops. It just doesn't stop. It doesn't know how to stop. Even if I'm trying to fall asleep or even in my sleep, I run in my sleep. I'm talking and I'm never like off. So I learned a little self-hypnosis to fall asleep. And then this is like when I was like, probably 15, 16. And then when apps started coming out for phones and shit, I was all over the meditation apps because I'm like, hey, meditation, it'll help you relax. It'll help you de-stress. And I just couldn't find one that legit wouldn't allow my brain to go somewhere else. Like I'm hearing the words. I get you. Almost to even if like we're doing it in a group sense of meditation, I'm thinking about work. I'm thinking about what I'm going to have for dinner. I can't help it. My brain it's like somebody doesn't want me to ever de-stress or just relax and let it all go. Where I know the importance of it and how healthy it can be for your body and your brain, and one could argue your soul, whatever. Mindway did it, dude. And this is nothing to do with spot. This is like,
if you were like paying them for the monthly pass,
it's like if you just try it and give me an honest review, it's like it's the first app I've ever used that's, in a sense, to me personally, part self-hypnosis, because it's you're training your body more or less on how to focus and concentrate.
Yeah, it's interactive. They'll guide you through it. They'll ask, are you having a thought?
They'll give you I encourage everyone, take the demo.
Try it. Try it for free.
There's a part where they'll like even explain, I think it was the anxiety one, like kind of understanding where anxiety comes from and what it really is and what it's defined as. And when you're doing these meditative programs, like if your brain's wandering, are you having a feeling or are you having a thought? So right off the bat, that was the first time anybody's ever asked me that question. Like when your brain when you're meditating, and they even tell you like, it's okay. You have to learn to reel yourself back in. Focal points are huge to me. Like, and that was part of self-hypnosis. Like think of something, a grain of sand on a beach, and zoom into that grain of sand around the billions of other grains. They give you focal points to focus on with your eyes open, which is another weird thing, to meditate with your eyes open. Didn't think you could really do that. I've always closed my eyes. I can't emphasize enough how friggin' awesome. And we're talking 5-10 minutes a day.
Yeah, they have like these little sessions, and it's all about like, so they kill it with the environments, like the aesthetics of it, but they have
the voiceover work is great.
They have ones focused on like mindfulness meditation. They have ones focused a little bit more on like ASMR. So, I mean, they have like their daily sessions to do too, if you've killed it through all the courses. But then they have specific ones, which you reference, like an anxiety one.
Yeah, what do
you
want
one for sleep?
What do you need to get out of it? So it's focused more on that instead of just a general, okay, we're going to meditate.
Which they do have with their kind of daily session type thing too, but it's more...
Yeah, it's like maybe you're stressed and you need to focus on just the stress and anxiety in your life. That's all you have to worry about is that one section. Maybe you just want a general. They have like a mental alertness that you could technically do in the morning if you want to get more into that relaxed state before bed. But just like anything else, I mean, there's a level of discipline. I think you have to go into it saying like, okay, I can dedicate 5 to 10 minutes for myself, which most people can't do. And at the end of the day, it's sad if you can't take 10 minutes for yourself to just deprogram or invigorate, or like in my sense, be able to kind of get that truest feeling of self-hypnosis, but through a meditative app. Come on.
Well, I think if you ask most people, like, do you think that there's a benefit to meditation? They would go, oh yeah. But then you would go, do you meditate? They would go, no, I don't really know how.
Don't have the time.
But I think I don't know how would be a very common response that you'd hear.
Of course.
And Mindway kind of makes that part easy, where they'll go, we don't expect you to know what to do. That's where we come in.
Dude, you don't have to know nothing. All you got to do is sit down and be open-minded and relax. And even with the breathing, I've seen group meditations where it's almost like you feel obligated when the person's like, even on tape or app, where we go, okay, breathe in, breathe out. You're almost trying to do that breathing cadence to what the person's telling you to do. Mm-hmm. Where in the app, at some point, after they do give you visual aids for breathing in and breathing out, but then they'll even tell you afterwards, like, breathe on your own. It's, you're not forced to feel compelled to, like, well, they said to breathe in, I have to breathe in. Because now what are you thinking about? You're thinking about breathing in and breathing out. You're not escaping the things you're trying. It's not really
guided
correct.
And interactive.
This is the truest. I like it better than any group meditation I've done. I'd put it up against the litany of freaking apps that I've tried on
phones
my phone
and stuff. And
I've had, we're going back to cassette tapes. Mm-hmm. Okay. I've had meditative cassette tapes for like self-improvement and awareness. Couldn't do it. Brain wanders. Apps can't do it. Brain wanders. Group settings, somebody's always making a sound or something. So there's a distraction. Can't do it. This one can do it.
Dude, 10 minutes.
Right out of the box.
And imagine, think we're playing all night. You wrap up a session with this right before bed. Dude, what a calming way to end the week.
Do the sleep one.
Yeah. Or even just the anxiety, whatever's on you. I like how they describe it too. They describe it as guided interactive meditation sessions.
It is.
Like that's exactly what it is. And
like
they say
the perfect accented voice is guiding you through it too. It's great.
Check this. They say it's scientifically backed. And if you go on their website, they'll list all of the references that they have for studies of the scientific backing of the benefits of meditation in VR or meditation in general. But according to them, it's also with the sessions being run are with accredited mindfulness instructors too. So it's not like they just hit up like me and you for voice acting and said, "Hey, read these lines."
No, you can tell when you hear the guy.
And that's exactly what you were saying. It's like it's the perfect voice.
Yeah, it's
the person knows what they're doing.
It's the voice that I wish I had, and if I didn't, it's the voice I wish that would guide me. So it's very trusting sounding. So even though they are a sponsor, it's like probably one of the happier things we're able to help promote.
Well, it's like anything that
there's no downside to it.
You know that they're confident in their product when they let you try it for free. Mm-hmm. So you have nothing to lose. If you're even skeptical of it, why not go try it?
Yeah, you won't get the full version, but you'll get a nice demo.
No, you'll find the link for the app in our show notes, our episode description. Same spot you can find our Discord server and our Patreon too. But you can also find Mindway just by going on the MetaQuest store and searching Mindway. That's all one word, MINDWAY, Mindway, and start meditating. I mean, like, again, try it for free, fall in love, and then, you'll look at the upgrade options from there, I'm sure.
Yeah, I am all open to somebody saying, no, there's a better app or VR experience for meditation currently that you can use, and I don't believe it.
Yeah, well, this was a interest you had before we ever got in contact with them. Mm-hmm. You were interested in these type of meditation apps, and only by coincidence did this kind of come together.
It was meant to be.
It was perfect, yeah. So
the chakras all aligned.
Yeah. Again, our reputation or our trustworthiness, is I consider it number one priority. So just know, just because we're getting a sponsorship with it, if it was a bad app, we wouldn't be doing it. It would be a bad app. This is an app that is genuinely freaking amazing that I think can bring a lot of people benefit. Very affordably priced at their paid tiers as well. But again, they let you try it for free. So what's there to lose?
Yeah, if you ever wanted to get into meditation in
you don't know
to
how.
me, a very controlled way, this is the perfect. There's no screwing it up.
Yeah.
And if you can't do it, verbatim, it doesn't matter.
No,
it's
they're very big on that too. They're like, just
you'll learn more about yourself with this app than you will with most.
Yeah.
And definitely, I mean, I hate group meditation. There's so many phony people in those groups. It's not even funny. And you can just...
Well, there's nothing that'll pull you out of a meditation session than something that doesn't feel real or authentic, something that feels fake. Whereas with Mindway, it's these guided meditation sessions that feel...
100% I endorse it.
Yeah.
And as far as like self-help programs, there's none that I've tried that I would ever endorse more. Mm-hmm. So it made me stoked from the time I first tried it.
Yeah, dude, you were blowing me up. Like I said, you were lighting up my phone. You were like,
this is it. This kills. I don't have to have another meditation. And I do. I have meditation apps, dude. Yeah. It's like, and they're worthless to me.
Look, if we went looking for the best one, we would have ended up with Mindway. Mm-hmm. Like if we were like, let's do top 10 list of meditative review, Mindway would have been the top. So the fact that they're a sponsor, it's even better. Yep. So you'll hear the first ad read for that this Wednesday on our review of the Light Brigade. But definitely you don't need to go wait till Wednesday to go check out Mindway either. Again, that's MINDWAY, or just visit the link in our show notes. And other than that, I think
happy relaxation.
Yeah.
And self-improvement. Betterment of the world.
Right?
I used to get, going back to the 80s, but there were these mass, and I think they still do them, like mass meditation studies where like, 1 million people all across the world all promise to meditate that specific day. And I'm not saying there's something to it, but statistics on paper showed for that one day, like it sounds so hokey. I'm the guy you don't want in a group thing because I'm that guy that annoys everybody, right? Like crime across the world and overall violence went down that day. So it could just be that, coincidence and randomness, but schools that have like forced meditation on their students, there's proven results.
I don't know about the worldwide
that's a fun one.
In crime or anything, but I think
fun.
that
please do it.
I don't know if there would be a continuation on the same day, but I think it would be hard pressed to argue that if everybody meditated, that there would be, I think it's a pretty easy argument that there'd be less crime if everybody meditated.
Yeah,
I don't know if it would correlate in the same exact day, unless the fact that there's no time you locked everybody in their house.
They were the funniest studies too
to make them leave.
But I think they still do that day, like World Meditation Day.
But nonetheless, good stuff this week. Like I said, not too much news, but fun stuff with Walkabout, fun stuff with Guardians, awesome stuff with Mindway. And stay tuned for Wednesday where we're finally reviewing the Light Brigade because, I think we've gotten far enough in it that we can do a review. Probably could have last week, but it was a fun one.
Another week to play.
Yeah, I'm human. It happens. We had 2 episodes. Come at me. What do you want? But if you enjoyed this week's episode, like always, subscribe, rate us 5 stars. Stay tuned for Wednesday's episode. Go check out our Discord, our Patreon. Give Mindway a peek, and we'll be back with you on Wednesday.